I said, I'm not talking to you. Why are you kissing? No, I'm not. I'm trying to do stuff. Girl, you're doing the most, Sheri, for no reason. So what we talking about today? Where's the questions?
I text them to you. You should be, can you access your text on here?
Well, we'd like to welcome you guys back for another edition of Behind Closed. Why can I not? Sheri, I'm forever wanting to say breakfast with the Brookses.
This is not breakfast.
This is not that.
This is not breakfast.
And I got to push the buttons and make sure.
Yeah, can you get the buttons?
Look, don't come for me.
Don't be showing off because we got company.
Let me explain something. 3 o'clock after school, me and you, 3 o'clock. Oh, by the way, for those of you guys who are just jumping in, maybe you get a chance to see these beautiful smiling faces. Sheri and I have had the privilege and the honor of coaching them sort of in the beginnings of what they are now showing up on a consistent basis with the wealth development stuff that they're doing in the lives of people. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Team Venable. We are crazy excited to have you guys here. Sheri is going to kind of unload a little bit and begin to kind of ask you guys some questions, y'all, because we've been in a series and we've been talking about sort of how to figure this thing out. Oh, by the way, for those that don't know, that's my light-skinned wife. Her name is
Sheri A. Brooks Jr. Wonderful, the magnificent, the beautiful, the fantastic.
I'd say I ain't asked for all them adjectives. We know you ain't got the. So Anywho, Sheri,
do they know who you are?
They do, and I'm not even going into that because if you tuned into this, you clearly know who I am. Let's get into this.
Would you like to introduce our guest first?
I just did that. You didn't hear me?
You didn't really give them a full intro. Though.
So Shaun and Dwayne Venable are dual athletes. Y'all remember back in the day when your boy Dion was playing baseball and football, Bo Jackson playing? That's them on a corporate level.
They're doing both and.
They doing both and instead of either or. And that's one of the reasons why they're more than qualified to talk about building a successful marriage and business. Is that good enough?
Yes.
Okay. I just was checking.
So first, welcome, guys. Appreciate you guys taking the time to join us today for today's episode. So Shaun and Dwayne, first, I want you guys to kind of give people a little backdrop to how long you guys have been married. How long have you been doing business together? And y'all still here, so obviously it's going okay.
Ain't nobody died and ain't nobody on the front page of nobody's newspapers.
Exactly.
Now, I really wish that Dwayne and I were sitting beside each other because this would be a funny story. Dwayne, do you want to tell the people who we are, how long we've been together, our love interest, our love thing, or do you want my version?
Well, I'll let you give your version, but I'll start it off a little bit. I'll kick off a little bit. We are Dwayne and Shaun Venable. We have been married for 25 years this year. July 17th will be 25 years. We've been in business together for the last 3 to 4 years. We started with COVID. About the time COVID started, we kicked our own business off end of 2020. Yeah, I'll let Shaun take it from there.
Listen, I love it because first of all, Coach Glenn always used to call him my Reverend Run, and you can see it. But I'm excited because I've been knowing this gentleman for ever since I was 16. So I'll date myself. So we've been together almost 30 years and been married for 25. And what I can say is that marriage is work. It's work. But I married my best friend, and I still call him my boyfriend. And as you can see, we're still smiling. So something is going right. We probably would have been in business a lot longer, but Dwayne was ready to jump into the world of real estate. And I was like, I just need to pay my bills. And so it took me a little while to catch up. And when we entered into marriage, this is how we met, Coach Glenn and Coach Sheri. And we love everything that you stand for. This is wholeheartedly. We love everything about your principles and your core values. And we saw a couple that we could almost emulate and say, how can we be successful in marriage and successful in business? And the sky's the limit from there. Because when I tell you we are still following you, we are still gleaning from you, you just don't know how impactful you've been not only to our lives, but even with what our children are doing. We see the fruits actually of your labor.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Sheri and I very intentionally show up, and we try to be as vulnerable as possible because, in a lot of ways, Sean, Dwayne, most people don't have a real life example that they can kind of put their hands out and physically touch and say, okay, this is how this could look like, or this might be what you need to think about. And Sheri and I had that. We, like, in the early years of our marriage, we would not be doing what we are doing if it wasn't for the community of real live people who were just a couple of valleys ahead of us. They weren't, light years down the road, but they were valleys ahead of us enough to be able to say, no, here's a pitfall. You might want to think about how you navigate that. And then the other part, and Sheri, you can jump in, but we were married before. So it's no secret, no I was married for 12 years prior to Sheri. Sheri was married twice before me. We both have children from those marriages. And so we know how to royally screw up a relationship. I can guarantee you that. And I think that part of having real live people in our lives who cared enough to speak truth and love, and also the huge mistakes that we made, we now show up in a way to help people sort of steer clear of that. And with that being said, Shree's got some questions, and I want to navigate this way. We probably won't get to everything, but I just really want to talk about this idea of balance, or what we like to talk about is harmonizing so that you can sing the same song. Come on, babe.
And, and so one thing, my questions I'm going to ask of you, and either one of you can answer it or you both can answer it, is how do you effectively balance the demands of running a business, pursuing demanding career, and managing family responsibilities while maintaining a healthy marriage? A caveat of that before you answer it, you spoke up about values. And one thing for us, our foundation has been the bedrock of everything that we do. And so weave in what your values are as you're talking about how you balance it, and how do your values influence you guys as you're able to balance your
I'm
relationship?
I'm going to start there, and Dwayne will probably laugh and piggyback, and then he can get the next one. But it actually stemmed from something that you taught us. Coach Sheri, I'm talking to you. You were talking about how to do marriage and life together. And there's something that you said that always resonated with me. You said, if we're not successful in marriage, we'll quit this business thing today. And you don't know how much of a volume that spoke for us, because our foundation of husband and wife have to be first. You also taught us, and I want you to listen because we haven't talked in a while, right? Know our roles. And so I had to learn how to know when Dwayne is my husband. I had to know how he was my business partner. I had to know my strength and where I bring value, my zone of genius. And then I had to respect his zone of genius and not tip over into that. And so I think that has caused us, quite frankly, less arguments where we can balance that thing, and then understand also too when we just need time for us to rekindle
So
what we
good.
have. And we're not perfect. We are learning as we go, but it has served us well to have people who have gone before us, ran before us, and those lessons of wisdom that we can bring into our real life relationship have been life saving.
That's so good. Dwayne, you want to chime in on that, man? How do y'all keep that juggling act from, coming completely unglued?
He's gonna tell the truth, y'all.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it gets a little crazy sometimes, but we have to develop a baseline, right? Where is our base? Where am I going to be okay and comfortable before I go crazy, or something goes wrong, or we started talking crazy to each other, or looking at each other crazy, So we develop that baseline, kind of understand, checks and balances, basically. If I'm gone too much or I work too much, I'm gonna tug my coattail, I'm like, hey, where you at? Where you been? I ain't seen you. Like, where you coming home? Like, you still live here? Like, what's going on with you? Same with her. She, we just kind of develop a baseline of like, these are okay. Anything past that is not. So we just kind of keep each other in check. Sean get on the laptop too much, I threaten to shut it down or throw it outside. And then everything gets back okay.
Boy, I tell you, somehow those idle threats, boy. I promise. Look, listen,
I
my
don't know
mother.
if they idle.
Hey, come on, let's
He
listen,
said what he
listen. He
said.
said the
He
man
said
said
what
what
he
he
said.
said. Listen, I will throw the joint out there. Look, I will just buy a new one.
That's right.
I love it. One thing I want to kind of just while we're talking about that particular subject, Sheri, a lot of times from a strategic standpoint, we talk about what needs to be done, but I really think it's important for us to and y'all know us, we know y'all, so that's it's almost a given. But I can see somebody sitting in the audience viewing this video or saying, yeah, but how do you pull that off? How do you do that? What are some strategies and some tips on how do you sort of maintain that balance? I know for us we almost have a language, it's a dance we do, and after 25 years we've learned it. But there are a lot of people who are trying to learn a new language or a new dance. And depending on their temperaments, their personalities, or how they made up, or like you just said, Dwayne, their tolerance level for crazy, right? That can be a little tough to navigate. So, Shaun, we'll go with you first. But how? Give me a tip or two on how do you guys? What? Give me a how. How do you make that work?
Yeah, I'm smiling. Oh my God. So Dwayne calls me the flavor of our business, the cheerleader. And when we first started, especially in real estate investing, he's like, let's just get this money. We're going to do what we need to do. We're going to build generational wealth. And I'm like, no, we need a business and we need to show people and we need to be the example. And so he's like, okay. So we first of all had to learn what are my strengths and what am I good at that I'm not going to drive him crazy. And what is my role in the business? What is his role and how do I trust him and not tip into that lane? I think the other thing for us is really understanding how each other work, what our pain points are. And so I need to understand like what is it that from if I was working in a corporate job, I would need to learn my team. I would need to learn their strengths, how they work well. Are we better at night? Are we better in the morning? And respecting those boundaries. And then when it's time to shut it off. So I would say those are the tips. Pay attention to your business partner. The other thing that I'll give quickly is that I am me being a wife and me being a partner are two different things. A wife, I am loving, I am nurturing. As a partner, I am a go getter. I am an extreme executor. I work from sun up to sundown sometimes, and I have to learn how to shut it down. And so we had to have the relationship of like, if we're in partnership together, this is how I show up. This is how you show up. And how do we make sure that either this is going to be a good fit for us or maybe not?
I love that. I love that because Dwayne, here's what I know to be true. Sheri says it all the time. Everybody that's married and in business should not be in business together. I mean, like that's a real thing. Dwayne, give me some tips, strategies. How do you guys do it?
Yeah, I mean that separation of duties, and like Sean said, recognizing strengths and weaknesses, because Sean is a PR person as far as she wants to do a lot, do a lot with the videos, a lot with the photos. I'm an executor in the other sense of the word. I want to be on site. I want to be physical. I want to get. I'm under houses, on roofs. I'm all in the spaces that nobody wants to be in. And Sean sometimes wants to come along, but she wants to take pictures. She wants to do videos, and I'm like, Sean, I cannot work like this. So we just have to find that time, that space for everything, and just separate the things that need to be. And like you said, just finding the strength, like find out what everybody's good at. She know I'm not good at the video thing. She know I'm not good with the PR stuff, so she does a lot of it. She cues me when I need to be there, when I don't need to be there. What's option? This is optional, no, but you need to be here. Those kind of things, and I trust her in that sense. Same thing when I go into the house and I say, Sean, no, we need a whole new plumbing system. She's like, no, we don't need to spend that money. I'm like, no, but we gotta have it. She has to have that trust for me and believe that I'm telling her what's true. So I think just kind of understanding each other, not
That's
not veering into my lane, not going into her lane. It's just a
That's how
matter of developing the swim lanes.
because that's how accidents happen, sir.
That's right, exactly.
so this is good. You guys both talked about roles, identifying your roles and knowing your roles. So knowing your roles in the business is one thing, but then transitioning to your roles as husband and wife. How do you, and I call it code switching. I always talk about you being able to wear multiple hats throughout the day, being because when you're in business with your spouse, you're changing roles all throughout the day. It's not like you're a regular 9 to 5 job just during those hours. You're in business role. It can be late in the night. You have an idea. You're having a business discussion and being able to switch. So, what are some things for you, Shaun? I want you to answer this first. How are you able to make those switches? What are things that you, whether I know for me, I had to tell myself certain things to be able to make those switches, but how have you been able to make that switch, be able to do that code switching to make it more seamless? Because it's not always seamless, but what are some things that you do to be able to help you with code switching?
So the conversation that I tell myself is it's just business. When I call myself that 9 to 5 corporate athlete, and there are many people that I work with that maybe from a personality standpoint or even a decision standpoint, I may not always agree. And so I have to say it's not personal, it's just business. So when we are talking business, how are we talking facts and data? Dwayne and I go back and forth because we're odd in business, right? When we are renovating a property, I want to know what the budget is because I need the maximum impact. Dwayne likes to tear down walls. Are the walls in my budget? And so, but then you know what? Sometimes he gets me, and it's like that actually adds value to the house, and we're going to make more money. So we have to take the emotion off the table. We have to talk facts and data. And at the end of the day, because women generally are emotional, I have to take my emotions out of it and say, if I want to be a boss, if I want to be a co-CEO, this is how we're going to have to handle the situation. And so that is a very different side of me that people don't see. But business is business because when I think about it, what's going to feed my children, what's going to feed my dreams, what's going to feed my future, that's what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Good. Dwayne, come on. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, Sean, I mean, I think Sean said it well. She said basically, you have to learn to kind of take your feelings out of it, right? I mean, that's one of the things, even in business, in my work environment with the guys that I work with every day. People say things hurt their feelings or upset them because, oh, I did this and all they recognized was this. I just have to learn to tell them, take your feelings out of it, take the emotion out of it. What did the person say? It is what they said, the truth. Like, take your emotions out of it, get out of your feelings, and listen to what the person said. So when Sean and I are talking, she may come at me and say something that I don't like. I may have painted something she may say look like crap, but I take my emotions out of it and I look at it. What does it look like? Does it look like crap or is it good? So it's the same thing.
That's good, man. That makes me think, and I want to jump right to this piece, babe. The conflicts and the disagreements that people have often stem, and I've always put it this way, from the lack of skill set that they have when it comes to communication.
Mm.
You hear this phrase all the time, and it kind of irks me a little bit because when you hear it as a standalone, it's so benign. It's so colloquial. It's like everybody, but people know that, and that is communication is the key. I hate that statement. I hate that. And the reason why is because no one ever breaks down how to communicate. People generally do not do the work. And that's one of the things that I'm grateful for when I watch you guys show up publicly. I know that you've done the work around learning how each other communicate. So let's talk about that just a little bit because I think, babe, that is so critical. You and I are, even now that we have moved abroad, Sheri and I's communication game has had to go to a completely different level. We've had to relearn how to communicate with one another because of our circumstances. So can we talk a little bit about that, babe?
Right. And so the way I want to pose this is, so you're a married couple. Us married couples go through stuff. We have our issues. I got my butt to you in the bed. You got your butt to me in the bed. We done had a little tiff. I don't want to talk to you today. But then we got to go to work the next day and we got to deal with an issue. We talked about from the business side, keeping your emotion out of it. That's one thing. But how do you keep that personal side from bleeding into the business?
Oh, Dwayne, you want to go first on this?
Well, that is something that happens, right? You do have bad days, you do have emotions. I mean, we're human, but I think the end of the day, I mean, you just gotta suck it up, you know. We don't want to talk about a lot of stuff. We don't have to talk about a lot of stuff, but there are things that we need to accomplish, right? We have goals, we have things set for us. So we may not have the best conversation afterwards, but I know that there are things that we need to talk about, so we're gonna talk about them. And then I also know that's when the benefit of being her husband comes into play because I know how to get this ball rolling. I know how to get this conversation going. Um, if Sean's having a rough day or she's having a bad day, I know how to get her attention, right? I know what she likes. I know what's going to start her to smile and back on track. So there are advantages to being her husband in business. So I try to think of it that way rather than the opposite. You know, we do have those times that we get where we're not talking about family stuff. We only talking about business stuff. And she'll roll her eyes, I roll my eyes, and then we go get something to eat and everything all right, you know.
Listen, y'all want some seafood, you know? Listen.
Yeah, our code used to be, you want to go get some ice cream?
Ice
Listen.
cream, yes, that's it.
Listen, and for Sheri, it's sometimes it's a song. You know what I'm saying? Like it is just a mood, it's a vibe, it's a space. And if I can get her in that space, Dwayne, I love that because the way you position that is huge. And I think a lot of people miss that part. There are advantages to the fact that y'all are spouses. And like you know her intimately in ways no one knows her. And because and you would be probably the fool for not tapping into that if you want what you want. You get what I'm saying? If there's an outcome that you're looking for, it would be to benefit you to slow down, make the adjustment. It's like, okay, how do I connect? And that's the thing, Shaun, that a lot of people I don't think understand. Communication is key, true, but without connection, no one communicates. John Maxwell wrote a book. He says, everyone communicates, few connect. And I think that that's the part that Dwayne is talking about. Come on, talk to us, Shaun. How does that communication play where you guys are concerned, and how do you guys make that adjustment?
Listen, right now I'm like so godly proud of my husband because he knows me. And any argument that we have, he knows that food is my love language, so it fixes everything. But I'll say real talk, like real talk. Dwayne and I, we grew up together. Both of us have lovely families, but we both came from broken homes. Both of us have lovely families, but we had these expectations and we were excited about a wedding, but we didn't know anything about a marriage. And so we had to figure that out together. And so with that comes the advantage of now learning how to learn your spouse all over again and also making a commitment. I never forget, and Dwayne can tell you this is real talk. We used to have arguments very early in our relationship. And I'm like, okay, well, this just may not be for us. Okay, we're just gonna call it quits. And one day he sat me down. I'm like, no, we're gonna do this thing. And so we had to make a commitment to each other that no matter what, thick, thin, sideways, in between, we are ride or die. And so when we get into those times where I make my mental list. If I'm looking at all of the good things that we've had, all of the good times that we've celebrated, past this one thing, and we've decided that we can get through anything together, we just gonna have to wake up and go get some ice cream and we're gonna be okay.
I love that. I love that. Sheri, before we get out of here, we have got to talk about, and they kind of just sort of gone down this road. It's a great segue. The idea of supporting each other. I think that one of the things that I did not take into account, probably for the first, if I'm honest, if we've been married 25 years, probably for the first 15 years, I did not honor my wife through supporting her. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't necessarily think I wasn't supporting. So I would have argued with you that what I was doing is like, but I do support you. But it wasn't until I recognized how she loved. It wasn't until I really began to truly understand her heart. Today I understand I can touch her without touching her. And I know how to do that. That's a skill that I've developed. Does that make sense? When it comes to supporting each other's roles in the business, roles in the marriage, your own individual dreams, because here's what I do know: you both are different people. You're in a marriage, and you have a union, and you're in a covenant, but you're two people and you have different aspirations and different goals and different dreams. How do you guys move when it comes to supporting each other in your dreams and aspirations? Shaun, you go first, and Dwayne, you jump in.
Yeah, what I will say, and I mean this like I wear it on my whole chest, my husband is a whole superstar. I'm more outward, he's more inward, but the connections and the value that he brings to our business, I'm telling you, this dude has raised close to $75,000 in private investment because he nurtures relationships well. I'm talking about this year. So I learned to value the king inside of him, the strength that he brings. He doesn't have to be me. Quite frankly, I don't want him to be. But what I see inside of him and his potential, I'm the biggest cheerleader. I'm like, you can quit yesterday. You can run this whole business. I'm gonna run through a wall for you because of the value that he brings. And when I see, it makes me emotional where he came from. Y'all, we come from humble beginnings. Dwayne can tell his own story, but where he comes from, they don't make it past 21. And to see the impact that he's been able to have, he is a whole quiet storm by himself. And for that, I will be beside him every day, all day, until the end of time.
I love it. Dwayne, come on,
All
talk
right.
to me. How do you support this one, man?
Well, Shaun is she is my Flavor Flav, you know. She thank God she don't look like Flavor Flav, but she definitely is my Flavor Flav. She keeps me pumped up, she keeps me motivated, she keeps me going. But I can say that she has always been fire ready aim person. You know what I mean? So she pulls the trigger. When she thinks about something, she pulls the trigger. And a lot of times we have not even begun to think about what that means. But opportunity won't wait for you. And that's something that I had to learn because I want to see it all the way through, all the way around, backwards, inside out, before I even start moving that direction. But not Shaun. Shaun is let's go, let's get it. And I value that inside that part of her. And and then when she does that, of course, I'm not gonna let her fall. Of course not. That's my wife. Whether we agree or disagree, we on one face. We got one face. We're on one front. And I'm gonna push whether I got to get in front of her and pull or I got to get behind her and push. We're gonna make it happen. So that's just the way it is. So I think that um, people lack that, sometimes in relationships where they see, okay, you did something without me, so I'm just gonna stand back and let you fall. That's never gonna happen. That's not who I am. I'm not gonna let her fall ever. So if we had to run through a brick wall, as you say, that's just what it'll be. So I think that is there's value in that. You can do way more together than you can apart. And if you pulling in two separate directions, anything can come between and easily pull you down. But when you both pulling in the same direction or pushing in the same direction, you can make anything happen.
That's good. That's really good. You both mentioned earlier, you talked about you guys being friends, but also what I'm hearing as I hear you guys talk, you both have a level of adoration for each other. And I think that that's something that's very important in relationships, particularly in marriage, whether in your business or not. But having that level of adoration helps you to, I know for us, I just adore this dude. He's like, I I've always known him to be more than he ever thought he was going to be. And that push I've given him, it was a gentle push. It was never a hard push. But when you say Shaun, I'm his cheerleader. I'm his biggest cheerleader. I've always been his cheerleader, but there's a level of adoration. I can sit back. I remember when we first met, Glenn was up, well, not when we first met, one of the early times when we met, he was up speaking, and it's like, I just was like, oh my gosh, who is this dude? But that hasn't gone away. That's something that I continue to nurture. And even when we go through our ups and downs, when we go through, tough times, that friendship, that adoration is like the glue that holds us together. I'm going to segue real quick, and you guys share what you choose to share, but in all relationships, we go through ups and downs. We go through things in family, we go through different situations. how have you guys been able to overcome or navigate through some of the challenges that you guys have faced and it not significantly impact your relationship or impact your business? And you guys were able to keep that glue intact when trials came, when things came in all directions. How did you guys stick together during those times?
Yeah, Dwayne, if you can take that one first, man, and then let Shaun chime in on the back end.
Yeah, so I mean, we have had our tips, our challenges, our tough times, but I mean, I'll be honest. Prayer is the main thing for me that keeps me going, and I just pray about things. Some things I never bring out. I'll never bring out public. Never may say a word about it, but just pray about it and see what happens with it. And we also just talk. Just talk about it. If it's there, you got to get it out. If you can't fix something you don't know about. And I can't address an issue that I don't know about. And sometimes that has been my downfall. Like I'll hold it to the end of the day, to the end of the world. I won't say anything about it. But like I said, it goes back to communication, goes back to just pray about it. And really God has brought us through a lot because we have been through different things in our marriage, and we have always, just been able to talk, make some sense out of it. We still may not like each other today, but we keep moving on until we can figure it out. But prayer is the main thing. If you ain't got that in your life, I don't know what to say.
Listen, I get it. I get it. Shaun, come on, chime in. How do you guys navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, again, because we have been married for so long, because we've grown up together,
Yeah.
we have faced significant headwinds, significant challenges from life to are we going to be together? Are we not going to be together? To even family issues. And I think what has helped us a lot is to be so united that sometimes you have to close other people out. Like this is a decision that we made to be together. And some things are just meant for us to experience because when you start getting outside influences from the wrong influences, it can cause you to shift apart. I think community is big and being around like-minded individuals who transparently share that every day is not a rosy day. We go through
Yeah.
things. I think having trusted advisors that can speak into your life when you get to those hard parts and you want to call it quits is critical. Sometimes a lot for our communities, we don't believe in counseling. We have been in the states where we were like, are we gonna make it? And we have been in states where we're like, you know what, we just want to make sure that we're going to continue to reinvest in us. So it takes nurturing and hard work, but you got to surround yourself. And if you need help, Coach Glenn, you say it all the time. You cannot get to any place of significance by yourself.
No, that's right. We all need some help. Sheri, I know as we come to the end of this particular, and we got to have these guys back because there's so much that I really want to get into. I know that you guys got an event coming up in November of this year. Not sure when this video will drop, but it'll be long before then. I want you guys to talk about that and talk a little bit about your why. Why do you do that? So many people do what you do, but so few people teach how to do it. And when I say teach how to do it, I'm going to say this, Dwayne, from a position of not just to make more money, but from a position of to make an investment in other people, to demystify this process, right? And I feel bad sometimes for some of these folks who are just gobbling up whatever information is being put out there because it's not coming from a good place. It's not coming from a place of genuine, we want to see you guys win. So I need y'all to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to get into some different stuff. And I just want to say how, again, I can't say enough how proud of you guys I am. I remember, Shaun, us having a conversation, and this will segue into what the question I asked. You said, Coach Glenn, I don't know if I'm qualified to teach people on what I know.
Yeah.
And I said something to her, Dwayne. It was in one of our one-on-one sessions. And I said, Shaun, let me say this so that you're super clear. There are so many people who've not accomplished what you've accomplished already. Here's what qualifies you is that you've accomplished what you have accomplished. And this is what I need you to do with integrity. Don't ever be afraid to teach what you've learned. What you're talking about is trying to teach people what you've not learned yet. We don't want you to get into that space. We're not talking about what you haven't learned. We're talking about what you've already mastered. And here's what we know: you have the receipts for that. You ain't got to prove to nobody that you mastered how to flip a property. You ain't got to prove to nobody that you've mastered how to take something from nothing and build something, and in a lot of ways, give it away. So talk to us a little bit about sort of that investment that you guys have decided to make in other people. Talk about your business and how people can get really, really signed up and get connected with you guys.
I will kick it off. First of all, we fruit of your labor. We're looking at who helped us even establish our first conference. And I remember that conversation, Coach Glenn, because you freed me. So our Wealth Legacy Conference, this is our fourth annual conference. We started our conference in the midst of COVID. But yes, and it was really about teaching people about investments, real estate, and how to obtain additional streams of income. And if you want to keep your 9 to 5, or if you want to do it full time, how you can be successful in doing it. We launched during COVID. And I remember telling Coach Glenn, I've never done this before. I don't know if anybody will show up. People got on planes and they showed up for this conference. And guess what we did? We taught from what we knew. We used the model and the formula, because Coach Glenn will always tell us, Coach Sheri, you know this, to run the play. You don't need to be expert in everything. Teach from what you know, and then surround yourself with the people on your team that are going to be able to teach their areas of expertise so that you can have a full package. And so essentially that's what we've been able to do. We've been able to bring our team. We've been able to bring people in. I think we leverage people from the MMC every year. Oh my gosh, because it's such an amazing community of trusted individuals that we bring together. So this year it is all about, it's a family affair. Our children have become investors. Our children have actually launched businesses. My mother is a silent investor along with my father. So we're going to be talking about real estate. We're going to talk about not only how to make money, but how to keep money, how to sustain money, and how to grow money, and how to protect your assets. I'm not a realtor by trade, so we're bringing our realtor in. We have our mortgage broker in that can get you deals on the spot. And then we have Les. He's going to be talking about your personal brand and owning your story. What I love about this is we're not only showing you how to do it from that standpoint, but we want to give you the foundational building blocks so that you can last in business. I need to say that again. The foundational building points so that you can last in business. And so we're armed, we're ready, we're dangerous, and we're making an impact. We even have commissioners that are coming out to talk about how you get involved in your local community so you have a voice. And we're bringing people with us.
I love it. I love it. I am crazy proud of y'all. Dwayne, I know your heart, bro, and you're a teacher and you're a giver. Can you talk a little bit about, just before we get out of here, based on this, like, why is it important for people to come and just sit and gain the value that you guys have to offer? Why is that so important?
I think because I'm gonna tell you why I value it so much. Let me start there. When I was trying to do this once before, we were thinking about. I was thinking about this a long time ago, and I tried and I asked people and had conversations with people, and people just will not share. Right? I don't know what that was about, but they just will not share. Will not give you any information. I literally asked the lady the question. I stood in front of her, asked the question. That lady looked at me, did not part her lips, turned around, and walked off. So, and I was asking a genuine question because I was interested in real estate, wanted to know how to get started. Just wanted to know, like, how was she finding these properties? What was she do? Didn't ask for any money, just asking for some information. And, they're just not willing to share. Even other people, I bring her up a lot because that was just one instance. But people just don't want to share. And I know the impact that this had on my life. I know the impact that this has had on my family. I know what this has done for me. And I know that there's different versions of me out here in this world looking for the same thing. So, if we can bring it to you, and package it for you and give you all of the blocks together. Not only what I was looking for, because back then I didn't know what I needed, right? I was just looking around, poking around to see if I can find something. But what we have found is we know what the formula is. We know what success looks like. So instead of you having to go around, ask questions, poke around, search the internet, you know, fall in a few booby traps, you know, waste a few thousand, 100,000, whatever dollars, you know, we put it all together for you in a package. And you know, I've heard people selling this stuff for, I mean, these numbers are astronomical, but I'm just saying it's not about the money for me. I'm not here trying to make money on it. Yeah, it costs because it costs us to put this together. It costs because it costs us to have a platform. You know, it costs us to learn these things. So really, the more I can learn, the more I can bring to the table. But I'm just saying, you know, the more we can bring to the table and teach from. But, you know, the most important thing for me is just to get people from the space that I have been in, so I know what is needed. I know what people need. I can tell you what it feels like to stand at that gas pump and try to figure out, can, I got $20. Like, how can I put gas in my car and eat the rest of the week as well as feed my kids and pay for field trips, and you know what I mean? So I know what those things feel like. So I know what it took for me to get out of there. So when we package these things together, we have those people in mind as well as the next level to where, okay, now I've made a little bit, so now what do I need to do to make more or
That's
sustain, or you know what I mean? So
that's
we
good.
know the level and the stages, so we're just trying to help people navigate through all of the stages.
No, that's good. That's good. Guys, listen, we're going to put a link in the description below and where you guys can go and you can sign up and be a part of this. Sheri and I just want to say, and babe, I want you to close this out, but I just want to again say that this is a couple that you can trust the process because they have built the process and because they have freely received their commission to freely give in so many ways. And when I say freely give, I want you to stop looking at the price you pay for something. And I want you to reposition your mind and ask yourself the question, what investment do I need to make? And then judge the return on that investment as to whether or not the thing was worth it. And here's what I can promise you. That's going to have everything to do with how much work you're willing to put in on the information that you've learned. They're going to give you the information. What you do with it is your business. And I can promise you the return of on that investment will be exponential. Babe, you got anything you want to share in closing?
I just want to thank you guys for joining us today. It's been good reconnecting with you guys again. You guys are truly an example of what it looks like when you lead with your heart first, and everything else just falls into place. Like you said, even about the conference that you guys are doing, you know, similar to us, we don't do what we do for money. We do it because God has blessed us in so many ways. We feel obligated to share that information. And yes, there is a cost because, like you said, it costs to do anything. And so, but it's not, we're not gouging people. You know, this is not about that. It's about freely giving. And I use that word freely because people will hear free. Oh, the conference is free. No, it's not free, people. Okay, there is a cost. But they are giving the value that you're going to get is way more than what you can pay.
Part. Say that
for what
again,
they're
babe.
going to give you. The value is going to be way more than what you're paying for this. They have gone through the hard part to execute this, to perfect it, to learn how to do it. So I encourage you guys to check the link in the bio so that you can get information on their upcoming conference. If you're in the area, if this is an area of interest for you, please sign up. Like I said, appreciate you guys coming on.
I love
you
it.
guys are doing it right.
Let me
You
say
guys
this.
have figured out how to build a successful marriage and a business without losing either one.
Say that last part again, babe.
You guys have figured out how to build a successful marriage and business without losing either one. And I'm super proud of you, and just continue to keep doing the work. Like Shaun said, marriage is work. It takes work. This don't just happen by chance. You got work to do. But if you do the work, you can be successful.
Listen, guys, that's it for this edition of Behind Closed Doors. I'm excited. The Venables are in the building. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe this wherever you get your content. Share this with somebody. Just grab the link, email it to them, text it to them, do whatever you got to do. Because at the end of the day, you cannot get to any place of significance by yourself. And the reason is because, y'all, we all
need
some help.
Y'all be good, and we'll catch y'all on the next edition of Behind Closed Doors.